Why should we tap into our intuition? Discovering how to tap into and listen to that voice is imperative. I'm saying voice, but as we go further in the webinar, you'll understand that your intuition speaks to you in more ways than just an inner voice. But that may be a prominent way for many of us. So, listening to, discovering how to tap into and listen to that voice is imperative because it is through this connection that we identify our true purpose and manifest a vision which allows us to live life with meaning. According to Paul Leon Masters, who actually is the founder of the University of Sedona, where I received my doctorate. Dr. Masters says, all that any human being will ever know or discover in the future exists already in the human mind. The evolution of the human mind is the discovering of what it already contains within itself. So let's kind of break that down a little bit. What he is saying is this: here's the powerful revelation, the transformational lesson, that thing that should also expand your mind, your thinking, your beliefs, your possibilities, your potential. He is saying that within the human mind, we already have everything that we need for the present and the future. That the evolution of the human mind is discovering that, is discovering what you already possess, what your mind already contains within. You see, in order to fulfill and identify our purpose and manifest the vision and live your life with meaning and be of service, to provide your gifts and your talents and love and service to this world. We already have that within us. Our job, our position, our journey, our life is about discovering that which we already contain, tapping into that through our intuition, and manifesting that which already exists in the mind of God by connecting our intuition, which is the vehicle in the communication. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Is the way that we are able to communicate with the God mind and retrieve all of this information, retrieve all of the ideas, retrieve the inventions, retrieve the path and the information. And you see, so let's just get further into that. So this is what Dr. Masters says. According to Ernest Holmes, who is considered the father of New Thought spirituality, all illumination, inspiration, and realization must come through the self knowing mind in order to manifest in man. Vision, intuition, and revelation proclaimed themselves through man's self knowing mind. Now, and I would have to agree with that. When you think about inventions, creations, processes, the items that we have, the material possessions that we have, the car, the airplane, trains, buses, boats, you see, the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, laptops, computers, all of these inventions, all of these creations, these processes that we use, the clothes that we wear, the cars that we drive, all of these came through, first and foremost, the self knowing mind of man before they could manifest. Nothing that exists in the physical realm could come into the physical realm. Let me make sure I say that in a way that you understand what I'm saying. So nothing that's in the physical can manifest unless it comes through man. It first has to be a thought within the mind of man before it can manifest. And in this instance, we mean man as in mankind. So that's why we should tap into our intuition. That's another reason. Nothing that you manifest in your life. Now, you see how the word manifest starts with man? Because there can be no manifestation without man. Nothing that you manifest in your life can come through in the physical without it first being a thought in your mind. So, and once it's a thought in your mind, then by you tapping into your intuition, which connects you to the God mind, as you will receive the illumination, the inspiration, the realization, the revelation. Okay, come on now. We receive the visions on how to bring about that which first appears in the self knowing mind. Okay, so the psychologist Carl Jung said intuition was one of the four basic psychological functions, along with thinking, feeling, and sensation. More reasons why we should tap into our intuition. And know this too. These are the primary overall reaching, reasons why. Certainly they aren't every reason why. But if you understand this, then all of the rest kind of falls into place. So Carl Jung understood something about intuition that many of us have yet to comprehend. Intuition is innate and cannot be destroyed. That means that we all are intuitive beings. We all possess intuition from the cradle to the grave. We have it. Yes, it's there. However, as many of us have experienced, intuition can be ignored, just as we ignore our feelings and our sensations. Intuition is the wise part of us, which knows our purpose, is our authentic self, and connects to our God mind. Now, when we talk about it's that wise part of us, it is where the wisdom comes from. Okay, that guides and directs our lives. It is where the wisdom comes from that helps us to align our physical life with our purpose, what our authentic self wants, what you desire in your innermost spirit, the life that you desire to lead, the person you desire to be, the person that you long to become. This is the authentic self. And intuition um, helps us to be that person and helps us to connect to our God mind, which helps us to be that person, our authentic self, our real self, and pursue our purpose in the earth, which now we understand should be to use our gifts and talents in loving service to the world. So, Lynn Robinson, who is one who writes about intuition, she says also and confirms that intuition is our connection to our soul, a vehicle for God to communicate with us. Not only is it our connection and means of communication, but it also helps to choreograph events in our life. So, as we move on, I'm going to talk about synchronicity. And when you hear the term synchronicity, think about the events in your life being choreographed. That if we understand it's a connection to our soul and the vehicle to communicate with God, and we know that it is the wise part of us that knows our purpose and our authentic self, then once we connect and tap into our intuition and we are communicating with God, and our soul is connected to that. And we walk in that, allow the wise part of us to guide us and lead us so that we live authentic lives, so that we live a purpose driven life. Then you see that events in your life begin to seem or appear as if they were indeed choreographed. So, Angela Artemis is another author who writes primarily about the topic of intuition. And here's another reason why we should tap in. Angela Artemis states, your intuition is the medium through which greater intelligence communicates and orchestrates events in order to assist you in acquiring solutions to your every problem, achieving your highest potential, discovering your life's purpose, and sharing these gifts and talents in love and service to help mankind, which I've mentioned many times. So then, this is the theme of intuition. Here's why you should tap into your intuition. It is the medium, it is the vehicle, it is the way in which God communicates with us, right? Greater intelligence. By this communication, we are able to orchestrate events in our lives to help us, to assist us in resolving every problem, acquiring a solution to resolve every problem. It helps us to achieve our highest potential. It helps us to discover our life purpose. It helps us to share our gifts and talents and love and service to help mankind. So we should tap into our intuition because doing so helps to orchestrate our life in a way in which we can solve our problems, help us to achieve our highest potential on this journey, help us to discover why we are here and what our life purpose is, and help us to share our gifts and talents in love and service to help others. What happens when we tap into our intuition? I touched on this briefly when I mentioned the word synchronicity. So, when we think of the word synchronicity, if you're familiar with the word, um, then you know, and you can attest to those moments in your life when synchronicity appeared and was strong. Everything was just falling into place. Everything that you needed was right there when you needed it. When you needed people to help you, they appeared. You see, those are moments of synchronicity. So when we tap into our lives, this is what happens. Intuition brings into your life synchronicity, which means that you tend to be in the right place at the right time all the time. This is when things, answers, solution, people appear in your life just as you need them. It means that your subconscious desires are congruent with your conscious intentions, and this brings opportunity and coincidences into your life. So let me break that down for you a little bit. When they say, or when it says, or when I am saying that it means your subconscious desires are congruent with your conscious intention, here's the problem with people or with us when we aren't able to tap into our intuition and our life does not appear to be as if we have any synchronicity in it. It's because subconsciously what we desire is not the same as what we consciously say our intentions are. There's a disconnect. So we can say consciously, this is the type of life I want to live. But if our subconscious mind, if the desires are different from what the intentions are, if you think differently from what you say, if I can break it down in layman's terms, then it will be hard for you to see synchronicity in your life. Because here's the other part of it. This is not something that just happens haphazardly, random events that are built upon some sort of luck. These are things that appear in your life because you have no emotional or psychological blockage that clouds your judgment and perspective of the world. So it's because you are free to see things how they should be seen, and as a result, you notice more things and therefore can make better decisions because you have more information to work with. So here's the key: when what you say and what you think aligns, there's no more psychological blockage or emotional blockage. When what you say and what you think are different, there's emotional blockage because there's conflict between what you want and what you say. As long as there's a conflict between what you want and what you say, your judgment and your perspective is clouded. Okay. But when you can get to a place where your intentions line up with what you desire in your heart and your mind and your subconscious, when your conscious intentions and your desires line up, there is no more disconnect with the psychological emotional blockage. There's nothing else standing in between the two, and at the moment that that occurs, you are able to see things as they should be seen. Without the blockage, without the conflict, you're able to notice more things. You're able to make better decisions because you have more information to work with, because you are tapped into your intuition. And in tapping into your intuition, when heart and mind are synchronized, when your thoughts and your desires, when your words and your desires match, when your subconscious mind and the thing that you really really want deep down inside is the same thing that you say you want, and there's no conflict between the two, and your intuition speaks, then you can make better decisions because you actually see things as they are. You notice more things, and you have more information to work with. Okay. What also happens when we tap into our intuition, intuition allows everything to flow smoothly for the completion of our goals. Let me stop there before I move on a little bit. When we say everything flows smoothly, I'm not necessarily saying everything goes exactly as planned or everything is perfect or all is good. But when we tap into our intuition and we understand it and we know what can happen as a result to it, then everything that actually happens, it does flow smoothly because there is no there's no internal or external fight or struggle against it. So here's the key: everything flows smoothly not because it's perfect, but because when I am tapped into my intuition and I understand what tapping into the intuition allows me to accomplish on this journey, I do not fight against that which manifests and occurs on the journey while I am trying to accomplish my goals, my dream, my reach my destiny. You see, I'm not fighting against it. So it's flowing smoothly for the completion of our goals. Without it, we are on our own out there in the dark without a beacon of light to guide us. We kind of back and forth. And think about it: when your subconscious mind desires one thing, your conscious intention, you saying something different out of your mouth, and you're not even aware of the conflict. You know that it's always a struggle. There's something going on. It's just not right. You can't get anything to really work the way you want it to work. It's because when that happens and there's no connection to intuition to guide us, you making all types of decisions. Sometimes you make a decision based upon your conscious intentions. Other times you making decisions based upon your subconscious desires. You see? and they may be in conflict because they're not congruent, because they're not aligned. So it becomes clear that following our source of brilliance leads to success because our intuition guides us to accomplish only those things our soul craves and heart desires. When following our source, everything flows. So, our source of brilliance is the God mind. Our source of brilliance is connecting to God. And when we actually follow our source of brilliance, we end up achieving success. We end up accomplishing those things that our soul craves and our heart's desire.